I better sit up.
We're live, guys.
Hi,
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. How is everyone tonight? All good? Other than work?
Other than work. Other than the usual, yes.
All right. So this week, I'm going to actually make sure I check out the names. Right. Okay. I've got on this time. Because normally, until halfway through, I noticed
Hang on.
names. Right. So, Bell Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to start this one? To be honest with you, I'm too lazy to research this one.
I hadn't had time. Hi, Eileen.
Here's Eileen. Hi, sweetie. The basic of Bell Witch, 1800s, the Bell family, and there's a Poltergeist. So, right, we'll see you next week.
So apparently in 1817, John and Lucy Bell dragged their 9 kids from North Carolina up to Tennessee. He went around.
That's what happens when you don't have a television. You get 9 kids.
Right.
What
So
did they do in them days for entertainment?
Have 9 kids.
Go and watch a local execution, I suppose, would be the other option.
yeah, that was
More exciting.
All right, read it all out for us.
the family moved up to this little place in 1816, 1817. He started buying up properties from his neighbors. So there were properties purchased. A lot of it just went right on through until he had about 300 acres, which was quite a bit. What's that? 100 hectares, maybe close. 120, 125 hectares.
Overall, didn't they have something like 7 or 8 properties?
Well, he had quite a few right there. I mean, he bought up. Well, apparently, his neighbor, Kate, just a second, let me get her name. She's right here.
Bats.
Yep. Apparently, Kate Batts had a really difficult time with the purchase. She didn't like. She thinks he cheated her, and that's what started it. And she died shortly after that, a couple of years after that. But basically, cursed everybody. At least that's one way the story goes. Cursed the family for treating her badly, etc., etc. And then they started hearing knocking on the walls, scratching, voices, all sorts of crazy stuff. Until finally, in about 3 years later, John Bell died. And they think it's due to the curse, due to the witch coming in and killing him. This was all blamed on the Bell Witch.
Because wasn't she still alive when it all started happening?
Yeah, she was, but she died shortly after. But there's so many different stories, so many different things put together. It's like Andrew Jackson, who would become the 7th president of the U.S., gathered a bunch of his friends together, and they took off. And while they were going along, all of a sudden, the wagon wouldn't move. The wheels were just stuck. They stopped. And then, at any loss for an explanation, Jackson goes, it must be the witch's doing. And a high-pitched voice replied, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. We'll see you again tonight." And the wagon started rolling ahead just fine, no problem. But what story? I read like 12 different, slightly different versions of each one.
The Andrew Jackson bit that I read said that he was on his way and basically got stuck in the mud at the gate, and then all of a sudden it stopped and they were able to get going again. And in a statement he issued, he said he'd rather fight the entirety of the British Army single-handedly than revisit the Bell Witch.
That's the one I heard. Yeah. But as Joe said,
that's one of the versions, yeah.
I didn't actually.
I heard it all started when John Bell was out walking his fields. He got something like 300-400 acres. And as he was walking, he saw an animal in the grass.
He shot at.
He shot at, yeah. It had the body of a a dog, but the head of a rabbit.
Yeah.
He shot at it, but it shot off at a hell of a speed. And it was from that night that they started hearing all the noises round the outside. Him and his son went out several times to try and catch whoever it was.
If I remember rightly, it started with banging on the walls of the back of the house, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he eventually made his way round to the door.
But there was scratches. There was the kids would wake up screaming and saying rats were chewing at the bed and scratching at the bedposts, and there were chains dragging across the floor when there was obviously no one there.
Mm-hmm.
And Betsy eventually was developing welts like she'd been hit.
Yes.
And her hair was being pulled.
Hair pulled as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Betsy was actually engaged, apparently, to a local lad, and the witch took exception to it.
I'll bring it up in a minute, Joe.
No,
one of the accusations I saw said it was the ex's family because they didn't want her getting engaged to the other guy.
I'd heard that rumour as well. So
I'd heard that, but I'd also heard that there was a school teacher who was...
I've not heard this one.
He was allegedly, he was teaching at the local school. He was about several years older than Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Bell Cave itself, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of different pictures of the Bell Cave, but this is one of the pictures of it. I've got a picture of two versions of Bell's house. One is the replica that the current owners have built, and the other one is a wood cutting of what it really looked like in the past.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
I'll bring those up.
Right. Yeah, if you can bring those up, I'll pop them up after he's finished what he's saying.
Yep. I just thought this is the original wood cutting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a house from the time, especially for a family with 9 kids. And this is the current one that they built. I know they're almost identical, but
I was going to say what you get when you order the house on Temu.
Yeah, or Wish.
I would like the Bell House, please. And yeah, here's the Timo version.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were saying, Ian, about the teacher.
He was, like I say, he was several years older than her. And he was doing his damnedest to break up the relationship without actually making it obvious he was. But he'd already made out that he was into the occults and things like that. And he was also a ventriloquist. He's a hypnotist. He could persuade people. This is one of the things with the voices.
Because wasn't ventriloquism one of the things that it was accused of being?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and this was part of the problem. He actually admitted he was a ventriloquist, but while he was gadding about trying to be the gay bachelor and all that, he was actually wed to another lass in a different county.
Oh yeah.
Right. When he was challenged about Betsy, he turned around and says, "Well, no, I've no interest in her. I wish her all the best and all the rest of it." But he was a suspect for a while as to what actually happened.
I can see why with the ventriloquism and the hypnotism and all the rest of it.
Although Betsy was accused of being a ventriloquist at one point.
Gosh, a lot of ventriloquists in Tennessee at the time.
It surprised me because I didn't think ventriloquism was around that. Didn't think it was that big a thing.
Oh yeah, you look into the likes of ventriloquist dummies, like the haunted dolls things. A lot of the alleged haunted dolls, ventriloquist dummies, do date back to late 17s and early 1800s.
Right.
You think you've got no electric, so you rely on other people for your entertainment. So
it's just amazing that you got the one ventriloquist and you got one over and just like the next county over.
Yeah.
And okay, now they're all embroiled in the Bell Witch incident.
Yeah.
Oh, in fairness, learning to be a vent would be so much fun if you went out on a ghost hunt.
Well, yeah, especially if you could throw your voice.
Yeah.
Now that really is weird when someone sat there next to you, and a voice comes from this side of you.
Yeah.
That would be
I don't even think that's a skill. I think that's a request sent up to upstairs, and they help on that. Because I don't see how.
I used to work with a lad who could do it, and it was the weirdest thing because he'd talk to you, he'd say something to you, you'd turn around and he'd be the other side of the room.
Yeah,
and he'd be sat there just chuckling to himself.
Well, after this, I might watch some old Archie
things thrown at
and Peter
Put it
Bruff
that way.
Watch some old Peter Bruff videos after this. I think see if I can learn it. It'd be so much fun. But bringing up the ventriloquist factor of the situation to a degree, you've got to bring up the Enfield Poltergeist for it as well.
Yeah.
Because with that Enfield Poltergeist situation, one has claimed that it was all faked. One sister has claimed it's all faked, and the other one's claimed that it was all real. And there's one famous video of them talking to this so-called Bill.
Yeah.
And you can see the girl that supposedly Bill's coming out of, throat's going up and down where she's talking, yet her mouth's not moving.
Yeah, well, that's relatively easy.
Oh, yeah. It's very easy. Not like it. Not like it.
All right, how's it go? My name's Bill. I should go.
Yeah, why? I've never.
Yeah, I can remember education.
Ventriloquist on the radio.
Yeah, it worked though. It did actually work.
Yeah,
you wouldn't really need to be a ventriloquist at that point.
And when I was 13, I lived on an estate called the Peter Bruff Estate because apparently he toured around there and that. Now, I don't. There was something about the Bell Witch claimed that she'd come back in 115 years. So
she did actually vanish for 7 years.
Yeah.
For 7 years she left.
7 years originally.
And then
after
she
John Bell had died.
115.
And then said she'd come back. The 115, I'd heard 130, but I think that was more a speculation on the part of trying to keep the legend going. And she'll appear, so people will turn up for.
And I think in the early 1900s there was some claims of people hearing voices and this, that, and the other, and so-called things linked with it, but it could be.
Yeah, but the most famous article didn't come out till 1897, so it's all still going to be relatively fresh in their minds.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the ghost started out. It was from what I've read. One of the things it started out. It was just a nice experience.
Yeah.
Then it started getting more nasty, but it would actually sit and hold conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it got to a point that John Bell, when he started getting ill, people would come to try and talk to the ghost, and he wouldn't talk until he entered the room.
Yeah,
which is a bit strange.
Well, the ghost, for whatever reason, I mean, if it all started with a dog rabbit thing and him shooting at it, you can imagine why it'd be a bit peeved at him, especially if some of the pellets hit it. But the Bell Witch had it in for John. It took pity on his wife and used to sing hymns to her.
Yeah.
But it was
that's
fluid.
right. Yeah, he used to sing hymns, but he would deliberately say the words wrong or deliberately sing it out of tune. I'd heard.
Well,
I haven't researched it as such, but I have watched and read a few things just to like.
On it when John Bell's funeral, apparently there were hundreds at his funeral.
Mm.
But the ghost, the bell witch, turned up and was singing beer songs. And didn't stop singing until the cemetery was cleared. Singing raucous songs and basically celebrating the fact that John Bell had gone.
Yeah. I have a theory on all of that. A little bit of reading I've had chance to do today. My theory is the visible wounds on Betsy, I think, is because, trying to put it politely, she refused her father's advances.
And that's what I think it was.
And he blamed the ghost when explaining to his wife where she's getting the marks on. And I think that's why the ghost was dead against him, because he was blaming it for the stuff that he was doing.
As I was saying
last week, in the slightest,
as I said towards the end of last week's live stream, my thoughts were very much like Linda's.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any ghost involved whatsoever in the situation. I think back then things being vastly different to what they are now. The father was doing things that shouldn't be done to you, especially to your own children.
Yep.
And I think either Betsy or the mother were the ones that poisoned him.
Yeah, well, there was allegedly a vial of
the black vial,
found in the chimney, and the ghost said it was. I keep calling it a ghost. It's whatever.
One of the things I saw said it was found beside his bed 3 days later.
That's what I saw, and that somebody had gone out and grabbed a cat from outside. And
they tried it on the cat, and within seconds it was.
Yeah. See, that's just curious, but that's what folk were like back then.
Yeah.
Well, I heard the 3 days after was when he actually died.
Mm-hmm.
They found it. The doctor was called out, and the doctor was the one who tried it on the cat. Poor little sod.
Yeah,
I tried it on a few others, but the cat died, and 3 days after it was John died, and the bottle was at the side of his bed.
Yeah,
but like you say, I also heard the witch was a scapegoat for an awful lot of things, and still is to this day.
Yeah, because it's not very long after their witch trials. So anything that's out of the ordinary is going to be witchery. Because it's not very long.
That's what surprises me with it. Because it's so short time after.
Mm-hmm.
The whole hullabaloo around it.
Yeah.
So hundreds of people went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if it had happened 60, 70 years earlier, they would have just dragged everybody out the house.
Yeah, they'd have just been burned at the stake or hung or whatever,
Yeah.
When you was living in the States, did you ever go there, Joe?
No, did not.
You hadn't, no?
No, I was close by. I was my brother was at Fort Campbell, which is right there on the Kentucky-Tennessee border, right near where this happened. But he had just been in a helicopter accident, so we were about to go exploring caves.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, nothing at all.
Well, the cave wasn't discovered till long after.
Yeah, this is some of the graves, tombstones that are in the cave.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder whether people have just linked it and said, "Yeah, that's."
And that is totally possible. Because it was right there in the area.
Yeah.
That's where the witch lived. So,
Yeah, but
that's totally possible.
Oh, proper kissed grave as well. Nice.
Yeah, without the upper stones, somebody removed those. But yeah, that's a
I
kiss.
tell you what,
And,
I do not want to be buried. I get claustrophobic when I can't move my arms, and the thought of spending.
oh, that bothers me too, Ian.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I can't move my arms.
you all know.
Whereas
Definitely.
I don't want to get cremated because I've got a real phobia. I've got a major phobia about fire after being in a house fire when I was a teenager. Before the house fire, I wanted to be cremated, but after the house fire,
I would just like to have my friends scatter my remains in my favorite places, and I don't want to be cremated.
I quite fancy the idea. Quite fancy the idea of a sky burial.
A really
Sitting on top
strong
of the
umbrella
mountain.
and a woodchuck about.
I like the way Joe's thinking, as long as my head is scattered in Tasha Trunnon's underwear drawer. And then I will be happy, and then I will die happy. So
Yeah, I fancy a sky burial. Just stick me on
I
top
thought
of
about burial
the
at sea.
Yeah, but you know fine well some idiot's going to come across you and put you on TikTok.
Well, yeah. It'll be their problem then. You invited me in.
there is actually. I'm trying to think. I think it might have been on Nat Geo. It might have been on a History Channel, one of the two. But they did actually do a documentary, one of the descendants of the Bell Witch, quite a few years back. I have seen it, but it's been a long time since I watched it, so I don't remember. Apparently, though, the family haven't had that much luck in general. But then again, you can say that about anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a thing where they were reporting, I can't remember what generation it is after, but he was reporting there was the odd paranormal happening in the house and stuff. But I mean, it might just be because it's something I've always dealt with, but to me it was like, yeah, whatever, that's not much.
Same here.
Get over yourself.
Yeah. It's like that video I was sent on Facebook from somebody that was all over Facebook going, I need help, my house is cursed. And the video of the amazing Poltergeist footage was a kid asleep in bed. The cover comes off of them, the light switches on, and the door opens. And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Yeah. And that's pretty much every fourth or fifth night where I grew up.
I'm just trying to have a look, see if I can find. There are images. There is. There's some images of people that are on Google of people that claim to be descendants.
Yeah.
Of John Bell, and there are actually some of Kate Batts as well.
Well, I was way to say, with 9 kids, he's going to have quite a few descendants.
Well, depending how long they live.
He's probably half of Tennessee.
I can't say anything because I've got mine of my own. So
one of the things at the start of it all, when they asked who the witch was, the witch actually turned around and said, I was happy, then I was disturbed.
Yeah.
But people are linking it back to Native Americans.
I always do.
I can see why.
I don't know how true it is. Allegedly a Native American burial ground.
I could see that totally.
Yeah, that narrows it down to about 80% of the US landmass.
Oh, yeah. Hence my two-headed black dog was one of the names that came through. There was allegedly 4 spirits at one point. They were all part and parcel of the Bell Witch. So
save this.
One of the stories I did hear, though,
let me save.
Was one of the people who visited him was an English guy.
Yeah.
And the witch was one of the things that was supposed to be special about the witch was it could be in two places at once.
I think the witch is cursing us tonight. I'm trying every single image I've tried to bring up to do with the Bell Witch. It's not allowing me to bring any of the pictures up for some reason.
Weird. Do they sell it saving as WebP?
Yeah.
You have to change the WebP to PNG.
It's not.
Click on the file twice and change the WebP. Change that to PNG. Save it, and you're good to go.
No, they're saving as HTML documents.
No.
Yeah, that would be a WebP or an HTML.
That's a web page. It's saving as a web page, not a.
Yeah, it's not letting me convert them.
Yeah.
There's literally
this English guy.
Yeah.
Turned up and was interviewing, and he claimed again, he's another one of these, he claimed to know all about the paranormal and that, and do an investigation, and he'd rid him of the witch and that. And he was asking questions of the witch, and the witch said, start talking in an English accent. And then it actually vanished and came back and started talking in his father's voice.
Oh no, that's a bit freaky.
This pillar here has got some writing on it. It's let me see if I can bring it up real quick so I can read it. Desktop. But it's got a little bit of the story, a little bit of the family information. The side that's easier to read, it says something like
this one a minute.
John Bell, 1750 to 1820, and his wife Lucy Williams, pioneer settlers from Halifax and Edgecombe counties, North Carolina, whose farm included the land hereabout, built their house 254 rods north, 23 degrees east, and their graves are 267 rods, 18 degrees east from here. Their children were Jesse, John Jr., Drury, Benjamin, Esther, Zadok, Elizabeth, Richard Williams, and Joel Egbert. And then the other side, I can kind of read it, but not really. But it's more information about Joel Thomas and his family.
There we go. And I found this one, which is the side just giving some of the brief information. I take it is that actually on site? I don't know if that's on site or if that's at the entry of
that'll be out on the road nearby as you're passing by. It's one of those historical markers.
I saw a thing this afternoon saying that the tract of land with the original farm, the well, and something else is all private property. So this is probably outside of the private property.
Yeah, they've got these all through Tennessee, Kentucky, the whole area. They've got these things that's just historical markers on the side of the main road. As you're driving by, you can stop and see it and read what's about it. Read a little bit about what's going on.
And here we've got the great grandson of John Bell, Carney Bell himself, at the location. And I have got it. I've got an image of John Bell's grave, but it's like I said, it won't let me convert it to JPEG or anything.
Let me find it real quick.
It could be up. It might be that my laptop needs an update because I haven't really used it the last few days. So, but what are your thoughts? Do you think it had an earthly explanation, or?
Absolutely.
I personally do. Or do you think it could have been actually paranormal?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah.
Using the paranormal to hide what he's done. Because trying to put it in today's language, having 9 kids, he obviously has a serious sex drive, even for a man of his years. If the wife's not interested, again, because of her years, he's going to start looking around his own little harem, isn't he? Which is a really crap way of putting it, but things like this were a matter of course back in the 1800s. They happened all the time. It was considered normal. It wasn't natural, but was considered normal to some degree, which is really unfortunate and really shit. Basically, if you were female, your life was going to be shit until the 1960s.
Yeah, it didn't even improve that much.
Well, I was going to say, depending on where you were, it still goes on.
Yeah. I mean, the other possibility I thought of is like a mental health self-created poltergeist.
I was literally about to say
that. Because the kids, like, say he is doing that to his kids. The kids can't fight back against their dad because the whole thing of respect being the top of the tree for everything back then.
Yeah.
You can't fight back about your dad, but there's
nothing
you know, some kind of poltergeist kind of thing.
There was an extremely well respected family back in the day, weren't they? So that would make
things like that, like you said, didn't come out.
Yeah.
Or if it was known, it wasn't.
It was all kept behind closed doors.
Yes.
Yeah, I must admit, I was thinking. Oh, here we go. Joe's brought it up. And Betsy Bell.
That's Betsy.
That's mine.
That's the one Ian brought up.
All right, that's Ian brought up. The authentic story of the Bell Witch of Tennessee.
That's the stone marker, but that's John Bell Jr. next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Next to it.
I've got one sitting there, Carl, and it's black and white.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that's the picture of John Bell Sr.'s grave. The Bell Witch Graveyard, the tomb of John William Bell.
Wow. So you brought up
obviously not cared for.
Yeah, you brought up. I think it was Joe brought up the image of the graves actually inside the cave. Does anyone know who they are, or?
No, I tried to find out. I didn't search very long.
Because I said I didn't actually research it as such. So as we all do, we got day-to-day life that we got to deal with. This week, I just didn't literally get the chance. But I had it on in the background on YouTube, and when I was sitting down in bed overnight, I was reading some stuff about it. There was a period in the early 1900s. We probably went through the stage of doing knock down ginger, where you knock on the door, or ding dong ditch, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Where you knock on the door on Scarpa, and there's quite a long period of time where people would stand at the edge of the cave, daring their friends to go in and shout out to the witch and see who was brave and all this sort of thing.
Oh, we used to do that to all the empty houses in the village.
Is it worth doing to an empty house?
Daring each other to go in to see who's brave, to see if they can go all the way to the back of the room.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, Eileen, because in my day job, I am known as the graveyard specialist. I've been hanging around medieval cemeteries and any kind of cemetery, but mostly medieval, since I was 5. And I have never come across burials within a cave, apart from a few relatively local ones that were discovered recently by the authorities that actually date back to Bronze Age, and they don't have gravestones in the Bronze Age. So I'm confused on that one too.
So somebody in 1951 stole the original John Bell gravestone.
Yeah.
It's like the Bathsheba gravestone from the Conjuring story.
Yeah.
It's been replaced so many times, they've now given up replacing it.
1750 to 1820 wasn't really what you'd call old either, was he?
70. We're
For
now.
that time period, he would be old. For
Oh,
that,
I suppose, yeah, for that time period, that'd be quite old. But
so because dying in 1850, he's died before we discovered penicillin.
Yeah, he's got a hard job as well, physical labour job.
Yeah. So it's a good age. It's a good age for a farmer in the late 17s, early 18s.
Yeah, I suppose. And I suppose with the fact that the family was so well respected, any shenanigans with the children, people wouldn't have even thought twice about it, and especially the time period as well. No one would think, oh, a father couldn't do that sort of thing to their child.
Especially when he's so well respected in the town.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Wasn't it landlords as well, I think, weren't they?
He kept it, yeah, he kept his slaves well, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, one of his slaves, I mean, the two-headed black dog is part of the slave story. His slave going visiting his wife was regularly followed by a two-headed black dog until his wife gave him a witch pin to keep the witch away.
See, now the bits I had playing in the background didn't mention any of that at all about the black dog. Not heard about that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of stories I read that had the black dog in it. Red black dog. There's a couple of wood cuttings, that wood cutting stamps I made that has a picture of that black dog jumping up on a lady's skirt and things like that.
Intriguing. See, what Linda said a little while ago, I was thinking pretty much the same thing. One of the excuses used nowadays for poltergeist activity, or one of the causes, should I say, used for poltergeist activity is a teenage girl going through, or a teenage boy going through puberty, or family
energy,
or stress.
Not necessarily. The one that I came across was a lady, 28, 29 years old. But it was a combination of her stress and anxiety, which was being picked up on by her autistic child, and bouncing between the two of them created weird stuff happening in the house.
Most every poltergeist story or poltergeist case I've ever worked, they had a teenage kid, 13 to 17, normally female, but not always, going through a bunch of teenage angst. And that's where a lot of the energy comes from to start all that stuff. Like,
so could that put out, like I said, I was saying like my thoughts on it last week, that it was because of the father, and Linda's pretty much said the same. Could that have just literally been all it was? Is because he was a potential, not saying he was, because obviously we don't know, none of us were there, but could it have been literally that the father was sexually assaulting the daughter? And
she's putting off that mojo.
I'm not sure how many daughters he had, though.
Thinking of it that way, though, if he is doing that to Betsy, Betsy knows it's him. Therefore, if Betsy's anxiety has created some kind of poltergeist, the poltergeist is going to be taking the piss out of him, which we know it did. And so that could all very well tie in together with just the stress that she was under, having to put up with what she was potentially putting up with, and generating her own PK activity. Which would also explain why it died off when he died.
Of his 9 children.
I want to know what was happening with her 7 years later when it acted up again, to see if it tied in with her life.
The witch actually said it would be back.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
From what I
had 3 or 4 girls.
From what I heard, when it did came back, it was his son John that it would communicate with, but it was never anything negative.
Right.
It was basically sitting down talking about, for want of a better way of saying it, sitting down talking about the weather. You know, it was having friendly conversations.
Yeah.
Now I've just literally looked it up. It says it says John Bell had 3 daughters,
Okay.
Betsy, Esther, and Jessie.
Yeah.
But apparently it was put down wrong, as Jessie was put down as daughter, but it's actually believed Jessie was actually
Should have been
a son.
son. Because I think of the kids.
Yeah, because the
Drury-
Jessie spelling I seen doesn't have the I, and it's usually got an I when it's female.
Right.
Yeah.
This one is, there's a kid named Drury. I don't know if that's a boy or a girl.
That could
But
be
Esther Elizabeth Zadok. Is that a boy or a girl's name? Zadok? I don't
I
know.
said that was male.
I would have said
Yeah,
it was
could,
male.
could very well
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I think I've
So-
heard that name previously in an American film.
It's
I would
probably
think
some obscure biblical name or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, definitely. Drury, Esther, and Elizabeth, I think, are the daughters.
Yeah.
Just guessing.
Well,
But
some of-
going back to the thing, if it was a poltergeist,
Mm.
that doesn't explain how it could be in 2 places at once.
Doesn't explain the
That
voices
story,
either.
that story I was telling you about the English guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he apologised profusely to the Bell, saying he thought it was a hoax and everything. But when it started talking in his father's voice and mimicking the accents and everything,
Just had a look. Zadok
He-
is a biblical figures
Yeah.
name.
he went when he went home back to England. He actually wrote to the Bells
Mm.
and told them that the ghost had turned up at his parents' house and was telling them what was
Okay.
going on in America.
Yeah. Now, see, if it had been a bilocation within a few miles, yeah, fine. But from the US to England, yeah, that's a different matter.
But he said because his
Yeah, but
parents, when he
as
got
we-
home, his parents were absolutely terrified for him.
We've said before when we've spoken about spirit and all that they can literally go anywhere they want to just by thinking it. So
Well,
yeah.
I think that's part and parcel of us.
mm.
They follow our channels.
Yeah.
If our channels are back in the UK, it will follow our pathways,
Yeah.
our energy ways.
So you think
That's
it's
my thoughts on it, anyway. But
yeah.
it's,
I think like what I think most of us do. I don't think it was paranormal. I know allegedly you had like what was it? Former president of America see something, and yeah, apparently hundreds of people would say people would go out, they'd play games with it. That someone would go outside and whisper something to somebody, then they'd come in and supposedly the room would fill with the voice of the Bell Witch saying exactly what they'd said and things. But I don't know.
yeah. But again, part of that is like, excuse me, like Linda said, a couple of miles down the road,
Yeah.
there was sermons going on.
Mm.
And the witch sat in the Bell's house telling them the sermon that was being held.
Yeah.
That's a long
And
way.
if it's
Well,
genuinely a spirit rather than poltergeist, PK, or anything like that, it is potential. I mean, I get regular visits from one of my friendly spooks from one of my workplaces, and it's 4 miles from my house. But every so often I'll get a wee visit.
Mm.
You know, and like one of them that's in the driveway has followed me all the way home until we've got to my door, and then it's like, right, okay, I'm gone. So things like that, yeah, fine. But I'm wondering if it is a case of anxiety and PK activity potentially waking up a spirit that was nearby who decided to come and play games.
Possible.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we really are talking in the world of if ifs and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no need for tinkers. You know.
It's like Eileen said before, folklore. How much of it's embroidered? You know yourself.
Oh yeah.
You come up with a story. I've done it at work before now. I've gone out and started rumours.
Yeah.
Just to see what rumours come back to me. And I've had people swear blind, no, this is the God's honest truth. Yeah, I know it is because I started it. I started it half an hour ago.
Yeah.
Eileen's just said, how credible are these accounts of what was going on? How were they recorded or passed down through the ages? Most likely word of mouth.
Yeah.
A lot of it was word of mouth, but there was an awful lot of documented at the time.
Yeah. The snag is, of course, the main stories that the movies and all the rest hinge on are from a book that was written in 1897, which is a long time after.
It's a long time after.
And even the author themselves was the owner of a newspaper.
Yeah.
So of course he's
going to embellish it. Yeah.
But
there are contemporary stories from the time. People writing about it who were actually there.
Because I'd never heard of that name. That Joe said that Zadok. I just had a look up on it. High priest of Israel during the reign of David and Solomon, and he allegedly aided King David during the revolt of his son Absalom. Was subsequently instrumental in bringing Solomon to the throne.
I knew the name.
That's a good name to have, then.
Yeah.
I've put a picture in for the two-headed dog with his slave on the thing.
Yeah, I want to see this because I've never. I literally.
It's only a woodcut, but
where is it? Is this it? Oh, okay, that's interesting.
He was like
it almost looks like he's getting ready to throw a ball for it.
Well, I was thinking that if it's one of them, you're being followed. You're not going to throw it a ball, are you? If you're scared of it, that might be the witch.
Got an axe in the other hand, though.
Yeah, that might be the witch pin.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
Also,
if you look at it, the head on the right, closest to the figure, it looks like there's almost flames coming out of its mouth.
I think that's bark or a growl.
Is that going to be a bark?
Yeah, it's sound waves.
Similar to that is why the myth of dragons breathing fire came out, because obviously a reptile's tongue flashes in and out, and to depict the tongue flashing in and out, people would carve the shape to try and breathe the tongue. People assumed it was fire coming out when it was actually meant to be just the tongue.
And the old English phrase, tongues of fire.
I think the fire thing is much better coming out of a dragon's mouth, because if I had a dragon, I would have no problems at all in this world.
Yep.
I just need a dragon. Everything else would be taken care of.
Free transport, flights anywhere you wanted, as long as you got a comfy saddle.
And Joe, it's full of dragon stories.
Yeah. You got a pit bull, bring it on. I'll have it roasted.
You wouldn't go hungry again, would you?
No.
But yeah, no, overall, I do think it was. Sorry, Bella. Hello, I forgot to. Hey, wake up. Hey, Ian, I forgot.
Bella.
Bella.
Come on, Bella.
Straight away. That's what woke you up, didn't it?
Hello, Bella.
She's half asleep, bless her.
Oh dear.
Oh, no, she's going back to sleep. You go straight back to sleep. No.
My softest voice, it's driving her to sleep.
Bless her. I don't know why she's so tired. She ain't done bugger all day.
It's usually worse.
Yeah,
it's worse if you don't do anything.
Yeah, but no, as I was saying last week, as we was finishing off and talking about doing the Bell Witch this week, I said that is basically said that was my theory of what caused it. And if you take in the contemporary views of people suffering poltergeist activity are due to, I don't know, parents divorcing, abuse, stressing because of education or whatever,
Yeah.
that would make sense. Because ironically, it's not exactly the same, but I was flicking through some stuff on YouTube today, and one theory said about on the film The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Jack hadn't actually gone mad and was trying to kill his wife and son. It was actually Danny that was causing it, because Jack had broken Danny's arm. And there's a theory that one of the reasons as well is what Jack was doing, the same basic thing that we were saying possibly caused the Bell Witch to Danny, and Danny not knowing about having the Shining, he was psychologically using his psychic gift to put the impressions and the views in his dad's head. So his dad wasn't actually seeing like the ghost of the naked old lady in the bathroom. Danny was putting the images in his head to try and get back at him with psychological. Now, my theory is, that is only a theory for a film, but the theory being, if the young, is it Betsy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Elizabeth, yeah.
If she was being assaulted by her father, that would be being assaulted anyway would be traumatic. But somebody that you're supposed to have 100% trust in, somebody 100% is never meant to harm you, doing them sort of things, that's going to screw you up even more.
Yeah,
it would. I must admit, the research I did, I'd not come across that as a theory at all.
No.
That the father was using
any of that.
The thing is, I've never come across that theory, but it's just a theory that I've always had myself.
It came to me as okay, maybe it's PK Poltergeist stuff. Is it just her age, or is there? But it was the fact that it constantly takes the mick out of John, and seems to be picking on him. That's what made me think, okay, well, what could the father have done to his daughter? And that's why I came up with that potential.
Yeah, it's as good a theory as any. Like I say, I'd just not heard anything in any of the research I'd done to that.
From what
like I said,
looked up, he had 7 sons and 2 daughters. From what I just looked up, he had 7 sons and 2 daughters. Focal point. If he was going to do that sort of thing, would he have only have done it to the one child?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. Because
I would have thought he would have done it to the Yet all the stories say that the Bell Witch was focused around Betsy. It doesn't mention, I can't remember what it said.
Here's another spanner in the works. Maybe he was attacking both daughters, but maybe Betsy was naturally psychic and that magnified everything. There's another potentiality.
Possibly. I think it was Ian. It might have been Ian or Joe.
Ian had nothing to do with this. This took place in the 1800s.
No, you can't blame that on me. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
No, but you're saying earlier about the marks on her body. That could make sense, as in the situation that she was trying to escape or trying to stop him doing it, and he was being more forceful and holding her down.
Yeah, because it says that at the beginning it was just like heavy handprint welts, and then it turns out to be proper bruises and bashes and things like that. So,
but I'd heard that they were appearing when there were witnesses.
Yeah, later on, definitely,
Again, there's not many different stories to it.
Yeah. And as Eileen said, how many of its grown arms and legs since?
Yes.
Yeah. Because look at it, you will hear that in most of these sort of cases, like Roland Doe that was talking about the other week, and other cases that supposedly people were standing there, no one was touching him, and then these marks suddenly appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's just an add-on that's, I think nowadays it's mostly Hollywood that's probably done it.
Well, yeah.
And I think as well, I think possibly as well, the Roland Doe case may have been something similar. The child's, was it his grandmother or his aunt had died?
I think his aunt died.
I think it was I think it was his aunt that he was very close to, which at a very young age, that I know from like my CJ when Heidi's mum died, it would be like, oh, is Nanny coming out of hospital today? He hadn't got the concept that she passed away. He thought she was in hospital. Could have Roland Doe be like the John Bell case and be very similar, because when the child's aunt, Roland Doe's aunt died, it affected him mentally. A priest took him in, and you know all the stories about priests. So, you know, these marks on his body could well have been a similar sort of case.
Stigmata.
That was the other thing. What I forgot to say this when we said about it last week about stigmata. Why is it only ever Catholics that claim to have stigmata? I've never once heard of a Christian that's claimed to have got stigmata.
Stigmata spreads across a lot of religions.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just Christians. It's not just Catholics.
Right.
It's just
And
because
it's
there are
again.
at the moment, for most of the news channels and such that you hear stories about this from, they still presume that the majority of their viewership are Christians. So they only point out the ones that happen to the Catholics.
Not these days. If you bloody listen to the BBC or anything like that, it's all.
See, I stopped paying my TV
all
license.
The religion of love.
Telly since.
I'm not sure if that was a statement. I'm not sure if that's a statement Eileen made, or if it's a question. They are spontaneous bruises, or is that meant to say, were they spontaneous bruises? I'm not too sure. So, but allegedly, I think they were supposedly.
Yeah,
supposedly people saw on
just like in Roland Doe, that the words would appear on his chest, scraped in. You know, that's what they saw. So, and then her marks were probably spontaneous as well.
Yes,
according to the story.
Yeah. But again, how reliable are the witnesses? Because one of the stories I heard about the voices was that the voices would only come when it was pitch black.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could see the lips move.
Yeah.
And also I'd heard as well that the Bells were very generous to their visitors. They would ply them with food and alcohol while waiting for the Bell Witch to turn up.
Yeah.
So, and in a drunken state, you're going to be a little bit more
susceptible to
So overall, are we all saying that we don't think it's anything paranormal at all?
It's possible. I mean,
I think
not having been there and having so many different stories to pick out bits and pieces from. You can't say whether it's paranormal or not.
No, because no two stories are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Joe was just saying about that, that's another reason that makes me think that it wasn't paranormal. Because people are trying to write it down as factual when they're giving their own interpretation on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's the fact that it went on for so long as well.
So what did you say, 13 years total or something like that?
Yeah.
Now from years of reading and this, that, and the other, and doing and being through a poltergeist situation myself, most poltergeist activity only lasts about a year at the most.
Yeah, enough for the kid to get over the angst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Bell thing, didn't that go on for like 3 or 4 years?
It went on for 3 years until he died. And shortly after he died, it stopped. And then it came back, 7 years later, 8 years later? And it was there for a little while after that. So, but once John Bell died, it ended for a while.
Which to me, again, points to it being more likely to have been abuse.
Very well could have been.
I'm not, like I said.
That's why I'm saying I would like to see what was going on in Betsy's life the 7 years later.
Yeah.
When it comes back, to see if it was potentially her or if it was something else as a possibility.
Was she even still at the house at that time? Could she have gone off and gotten married?
Yeah.
Yeah, she got married and had children herself.
And John Jr. lived at the house or something like that. It's totally possible.
Yeah.
But the witch actually said, I will be back. And again, one of the stories was that I'll be back on this date.
Didn't Schwarzenegger say that too? I'll be back.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Then it's a lot of the stuff. I'm totally discounting the witch thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely, for my mind, there's definitely some kind of spirit involvement, but I think it's been brought in as a tag along, reacting to the PK activity that she might have been generating herself.
Yeah.
Which would go along with one of the things that the witch is alleged to have happened when it says I was disturbed.
Yeah.
Right.
It actually had John and one of his, I think it was, remembering rightly from the other day, it was a guy that Betsy was engaged to. John and him went out, and the ghost, the witch, had them hunting all over the place for this Native American graveyard. And in fact, they never found it.
Yeah.
So there's a chance then it could be poltergeist activity caused by the trauma that was happening to Betsy. Could it be a tulpa possibly? I don't know.
In a lot of these cases, if we take it as some kind of trauma or attack on Betsy, be it physical, sexual, whatever, doesn't matter. It generates the same kind of feeling. In a lot of these cases, even when the other parent says they don't know, they usually suspected something.
Yes.
Because they notice the change in the child's behavior at the very least.
Right.
That's literally what I was about to say. I was literally about to say what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you combine the anxiety and potential PK from the kid and possibly from the mother, and maybe that woke up a sleeping spirit from a Native American burial nearby.
Possibly.
Because he's blaming the spirits for attacking Betsy. And then the spirit's coming in and going, hey, what you on about? It wasn't me. I've not done nothing. You're just being and that's maybe when the attacks on John actually started, when the nearby spirit was woken up by all this stuff.
Another theory that I've said, like you've all said as well, there's no documents or anything like that to say it could possibly been sexual assault that was causing it, and it was covered up that way. But I come up with this maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even longer. I thought it could be after watching that documentary with his great grandson, and I thought, could it simply be that John was doing that to his daughter? And the mother actually walked in and caught him. And it was actually the mother that did it.
Yeah. The thing that's throwing me with this aspect of it, this side of it, people who are in that sort of position. From what I've heard, I've never been in that position myself, so I'm not speaking from experience or anything on that score, but they don't tend to want to form relationships with anyone else.
Yeah.
Betsy was very much enamored of this guy she was engaged to. She was the one who broke it off because of the witch and because it was causing so much grief between them.
I want to add a wee bit onto that. Some of you know I've been an unofficial counsellor for many, many, many years. I have come across victims of the R word that YouTube doesn't like us saying.
Yeah.
Who have become voracious with their partners. The majority withdraw, but I have come across quite a few that became voracious, and it was a case of I'm claiming it back. Is how they were thinking of it.
Yeah.
So
like I say,
there is the potential for either way when you've been a victim of the R word.
That does make sense, because in that situation you had no control whatsoever.
Yeah.
When you're older, and if you're in a relationship or the type of person to do a lot of one night stands, you might be more dominant and things like that, because it'd be right now I actually have control of what happens.
Yeah, that's it. So, as I say, I've only come across a few like that, but I have come across a few.
I've heard stories about.
Like I say, I've no experience myself with any of that side of things. So, but from what I've heard, they tend to shy away.
You might add down. I don't know if that was Ian's voice echoing or if there was a voice just then.
Joe was starting to say something, but by all means, write it down and check it later.
I'm not sure how many minutes that is. How many minutes?
107:03.
Yeah.
Right. I'll check that back. It could have been that Joe was, because my eyes are really blurry tonight. Because I've put my glasses down. I
can see him just fine.
There was another part of the story. I can't find the name of the guy who was supposed, but one of the people who was there allegedly investigating it actually got a hold of the witch and tried throwing it on the fire.
I've heard that bit. I can't remember who it was. Was it not a family member, or
I'm not sure if it was a family member, but it was.
Member.
He actually got a grip of it.
Threw it on the fire.
But tried to throw it on the fire, but the smell and the weight, eventually he couldn't.
I didn't come across.
That's been rolling around my head most of the evening, and I was actually starting to doubt whether it was this story or somebody else's.
I can't say I heard that one. The bit like the church being a couple of miles away and the bell witch supposedly being able to say what was said in the sermon and things like that, that I can't explain.
John was a deacon in the church, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he was an elder in the church, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, me. That's would he been? He wouldn't have been a Quaker back then, would they?
John was excommunicated not long before all this kicked off.
That's interesting.
All right.
I saw that in one that was written by a Tennessee historian this afternoon.
Yeah.
Why?
I did that much to get you kicked out of the church in them days.
Well,
he farted as the vicar was doing his sermon.
It's like I laugh at all these people that tell me I'm a bad un because I have the nickname White Witch and all the rest of it, and it's like, well, I've worked in
the Roman White Witch. Don't give you a clue.
Yeah, well, I only added white to placate the nervous Nelly Christians that don't know, but I usually reply with, well, I've worked in a Roman Catholic cathedral for 23 years and I haven't burst into flames yet.
I must admit, I always step in with if I've got to go for a christening or a wedding or whatever these days, I always look.
Put your hand in first, make sure it don't catch on fire. Saying about that, I just looked. So I hadn't heard about him being excommunicated.
No, I hadn't seen that one. Very
the reason, right? I've just looked it up. The reason, according to the church records, was a business dispute. Bell had sold a slave named Benjamin Batts.
Yes,
and
the surname of Kate.
Yeah. Oh, I've got wrong bloody glasses. No one could read it properly.
No wonder everything's so blurry.
I was going to say, you should have put your glasses on to find your glasses.
Because that's the other thing I thought in reading these bits. It's like, well, this person came and that person came and they witnessed this, that, and the next thing. And all the way through these stories, I'm going, how have they shouted the minister in? Because in 1800s America, that's the first thing you do.
Right.
But that'll be why, because he was kicked out.
I put up a picture there, Carl, of whoever it was, Powell or somebody like that, picking the witch up and trying to throw her in the fire.
Yeah.
It's all wood cutting.
Yeah.
Must have a.
Yeah, because they wrapped her in a blanket and threw her on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the same image I'm thinking of.
I've not come across that one. I haven't seen. I've not come across that one at all. I've not heard about.
Trying to find who it was.
I was just going through the stuff, and
was it not a descendant of John's? I can't remember.
Drury was one of his brothers.
One of his sons.
One of his sons.
Yeah, Drury was one of John Bell's sons. The third one. It went Jesse, John Jr.
Yeah, they're the ones with the wagon that got stuck. Yeah.
Joshua Gardner maybe was the one that did that.
Just looking it up.
Or
in a traditional. Let's go here. In a traditional Bell Witch legend, as it was first written down in the 1800s, especially in an authenticated history of the Bell Witch by Martin Ingram in 1894.
Yeah, that's the newspaper guy.
Yeah, John Bell was not accused of child abuse. The story focused on the strange illness the witch tormented. However, in modern interpretations, especially in the 20th and 21st century, some writers and folklorists have suggested darker theories. Some propose that the haunting legend may have developed as a way of disguising or processing domestic abuse within the Bell family, particularly towards Betsy. In these versions, the witch's attacks on Betsy are sometimes reinterpreted as a symbolic way of talking about abuse, with John Bell himself speculated as the abuser. The idea first appears in books and even fictionalized adaptations. For example, Brent Monahan's novel The Bell Witch, An American Haunting, and the film An American Haunting, where John is portrayed as an abuser and a witch as a manifestation of Betsy's trauma.
Right.
So basically, I've just looked up and it's literally said pretty much everything we've said. Oh, now my eyes are extremely blurry.
One interpretation of what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. The teacher, the professor, the former teacher was a guy called Richard Powell.
Yeah, Richard
He'd
Powell.
been noticeably interested in Betsy for some time and expressed interest in marrying her when she became older, even though the fact he was already married.
Yeah, and he was kind of upset. He was already engaged partner.
Yeah. But he was a student. He was 11 years Betsy's senior, was a student of the occult, ventriloquism, a mathematical genius, and well-versed in horticulture and geology. He was secretly married to a woman in nearby Asheville, Nashville. My bloody glasses.
Well, you never know. Hashville might be a more appropriate description, especially.
Well, yeah. Hashtag.
Morley's Ian.
Sorry, what are you offering me? So yeah, it's. I still can't find who tried throwing her on the fire.
That was a family friend, and I think I found it.
Okay.
Where did it go now? Let me see. Go up. James Johnston.
Oh, I did hear that name when I had it on in the background.
That said that John confided the happenings to a family friend named James Johnston. The man spent a few nights at the Bell farm and confirmed that some sort of spirit seemed to be terrorizing the family. And then it talks a little bit more about him, or about the thing, and it comes down. A family friend tried to throw the witch on the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it could have been.
Johnston and his wife spent the night at the Bell home. Things began peacefully, but then they retired for the evening. They were subjected to the same terrifying disturbances that the Bells had been experiencing. After their bed covers were yanked off and James was slapped, he sprang out of bed exclaiming, "In the name of the Lord, who are you and what do you want?" The entity did not respond. The rest of the night was peaceful. Next morning, Johnston explained to the Bells that the culprit was likely an evil spirit, the kind that the Bible talks about.
I reckon he was snoring. His wife gave him a slap because he was keeping her awake.
and he tried throwing her in the fire. It was a witch, honestly. It was a scapegoat for a lot of things.
Yeah, the sermons, the entity's voice strengthened over time and became loud and unmistakable. It sang hymns, quoted scripture, carried on intelligent conversation, and quoted word for word 2 sermons that were being preached at the same time on the same day, 13 miles apart.
Yes.
So
they're well away from the actual house. Yes.
So yeah, I was going to say a little while ago, you know, when the bit of the witch supposedly been able to know what was being said during the sermon and this, that, and the other, churches have a tendency to repeat a lot of stuff all the time. It's usually the same. Oh, if you do wrong, you're going to hell. If you do good, you're going to heaven. So that could have been just pure guesswork. But when people going outside the house to say something, and then coming in and then the bell supposedly repeating what they'd said, I don't know. Back then, one of them houses is what, in the middle of 100 acres or whatever it was. Joe said it was.
It was
300 acres.
400 acres, yeah.
You know, a house in the middle of 400 acres with nothing but birds singing, maybe a river somewhere in the background. You know, it's a time where there weren't no vehicles, there weren't no electricity, TVs or anything like that. I don't know how thick these walls of the house were. If they were just planks, somebody could have been sat in there and easily heard it. And it could hark back to the ventriloquism.
Yeah. Well, again, one of the other stories that I'd read was when Betsy was there and they were talking and the spirit, the witch, was talking. She was never alone. Her brother was always with her. So if you're, like you say, I'm talking to you and I'm facing you and he stood over there.
Yeah.
So potentially your brother.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there might have been something, but it got blown out of all proportion, and it was one of those people like the fame.
Yeah.
They like the the fact that they are the centre of attention, the whole family's getting it, and I mean, John, like they said, was ill. That's the president, isn't it?
Yeah. Ron, what's
There's
this
John
one?
dead in the bed, and then there's them feeding the cat the contents
Oh,
of the little
the poison, yes.
Yeah, I think you're on the same page I'm looking at as well.
See now, is there anything that says that how long the Bells have been over in America? I'm assuming they were pilgrims.
Well, they apparently, from what I read, they were born in North Carolina.
Yeah.
At least the John and Lucy were born there.
They'd been there.
I don't know if their parents were or not, but they probably came from England with the name Bell, and her name was Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw the name Williams. Yeah. See, they've gone to a different part of America. You know yourselves, America's got so many different types of animals there. There would have been rats attacking the corn grain and the stuff that they'd stored for winter and things. So there would have been rat poison around there would have been rat poison in most houses back then, I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
So could the poisoning, it's simply rat poison.
Could have been.
Out with.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Because there's other stories I've looked up when I've been trying to think of other ideas. And I came across some ones about serial killers, and there was a young girl that was a serial killer back then, that her mum and her dad kept getting iller, and the dad just curled over when she took him his porridge, and she'd been lacing it with rat poison.
Yeah.
And she'd been chucking stuff like fruits and things in the porridge to try and get rid of the taste of the rat poison.
Well, that go back if there was abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way of getting rid of the abuser. And with all the stories going round about the actual ghost, the witch.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
That's the one thing. That's one thing in my theory of it being either Betsy had finally had enough, or a member of the family in general, whether it be Betsy or the other daughter or one of the sons or the mother, had killed him. Wouldn't it have been better? There's got to have been better stories of how they died, like maybe bitten by a snake or something, rather than saying, "Oh, a ghost killed him." There's got to have been
no, because this whole thing started before John became ill.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole witch thing was already a thing.
Right.
But like I said, the witch was getting blamed for an awful lot of stuff. It wasn't just the Bells. The Bells were the main protagonist being the wrong word, but the main victims, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
But the witch was attacking others.
Mm-hmm.
That I hadn't heard of that.
I found a connection with the cave in the wee bit that I've just read.
Well, I was going to say, I've just put up, this is from March the 18th, 1819.
Can you PM me to that? Because I'd like to put it on my phone and have a proper read of it after.
Yeah.
I can put on my TV. That's all right, I can bring up on my TV. I didn't think of that.
It basically says John Bell Sr., who makes his living as a farmer, resides with his family in Red River, Tennessee. His family has come under attack by a witch who is believed to be a lady called Kate Batts. It began with noises in the wall and has grown to include unusual sounds, people being slapped and pinched. People, not just Betsy.
Yeah.
Objects being thrown and animals being spooked without visible cause. General Andrew Jackson and his men recently visited the farm, and he his entourage encountered several paranormal events that night as well. Bell's daughter seems to be the centre of the haunting.
I heard of one of Jackson's soldiers actually run out of the building, and
yeah, that's this guy. This is General Andrew Jackson. I mean, he was quite well known.
He was Major General at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah. Bell is seeking anyone that could be of help in their situation. They are open to all suggestions. Their torment has went on for several years now. Bell says he would just like to live a normal life. I want my children to live normal lives. If you can be of help. And that's it. But that was March 18th, 1819.
So that is the year before he died.
Year before he died, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, like I said, the main story is, Linda says, comes from donkey's years after.
Yeah.
But it was documented and being evidenced at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, 1897 is when the newspaper dude wrote the book.
Yeah. Excuse me a minute.
Yeah, the connection with the cave I just came across.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody seems to say it's the Bell Witch's cave and all the rest of it. But on the bit I've just read, the kids of John would play with the cave, play in the cave. It was the edge of their property. But when she was engaged to Joshua, after it was all over and done with, it didn't matter whether they were in the fields or in the woods or in the cave. They didn't get a minute's peace from the thing. The thing had told her outright several times not to marry Joshua. So, but it seems the cave was somewhere on the edge of their property that they used to play in as kids. And where they some alone time with the fiance.
Could that have been the witch saying don't marry him, or was it the John Bell
ventriloquist guy?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was potentially the ventriloquist guy throwing his voice into the cave. Because it was during the time that he was telling her not to marry Joshua as well.
That was the teacher, the ventriloquist guy? Yeah. And he had his sights on her as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep. Even though he had his secret wife in a different state.
Harold is done like Mickey or Goofy.
How old was Betsy at the time?
She was looking at getting married, so she was somewhere between 14 and 20. And at that time, that was plenty normal.
She broke off the engagement in April 1821.
I'll see if I look it up.
Easter Monday of 1821, she broke up the engagement because it didn't matter whether they went to the river, the fields, or the cave to play. The entity was nagging them. And the constant pressure broke Betsy, so she called off the engagement.
Oh, she's nowhere near as old as Joe thought.
What was she, 12?
She was 11 or 12.
Wow. I was
thinking of the time period, as soon as a lady has her first monthly annoyance, she can be proposed in marriage.
I've seen video clips recently in certain types of buildings that the people that run them type of buildings have said that during sermons. Yes. What was the old saying? Old enough to bleed, old enough to breed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was actually
that's no suits religions.
But it's also standard practice in medieval times. Yeah. That's why you had so many people dying during childbirth, because the ones who died in childbirth were somewhere between 9 and 14.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've seen video clips that people have taken cameras in certain religious buildings, and they have secretly filmed it, and the people that have been running the sermons have literally said that.
Yeah.
That was like 3 or 4 weeks
Some
ago.
of our sensibilities have changed over the years.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah, I mean, even the royals, King James VI and first, before, well, just as his mum was executed, when he was 16, he was engaged to a 3-year-old.
Jesus.
I mean, nothing happened till the wedding night, but the wedding night was 2 weeks after her 12th birthday.
Yeah. Like you say, you look at nature with animals.
Yeah. Yeah, you get kittens that are already pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the human thing is, though, humans are meant to be the civilized ones on the planet, aren't we? So,
yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Having just come back from Krakow and heard the story of the ghettos and stuff. Yeah. Man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like my 2 favorite phrases. That's one of them, man's inhumanity to man. And the other favorite phrase is actually from Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. Civilization and civilization spread at the same rate.
Yep.
So, yep.
Yeah. Right. Shall we call this one short? Call it short this week. It's easier for me.
I mean, the proper time, hour and a half.
Well, I think we've dissected all we can dissect.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We've pretty much dissected this one the best we can, and I think we've been quite spot on with this one. I do think ultimately, I think there could have been potentially poltergeist activity caused by trauma.
Yeah.
I really do.
And it wouldn't be the first case where PK activity has woken up a spirit that just happened to be there.
Yeah.
So,
but again, down the years, it's just expanded and expanded till it's become
Chinese whispers.
Huge.
Thanks, Arlene. More than welcome. Next week's one should be fun because I know I shouldn't have, because it's involved people losing their lives. But I've been
in such funny ways.
Yeah, Darwin Award.
Some of the ways
removing yourself from the evolutionary chain.
Yeah.
In an interesting way.
And I get to include one of our local history stories from up here because of the topic.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'll give you a taster.
No, it's not to do with the hot poker. That happened down south.
Yeah.
Barclay Castle.
Hang on, are we talking?
Red hot poker as a way to die.
People's sexual proclivities, they're all.
Yeah, Edward I's son.
Whoop. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barclay
I'll give you a taster for next week. When I worked on the motorways, I got called out by the lads. You better come and have a look at this one. And I turned up. It was one of the motorway bloody power stations, basically. And the lad said, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What you on about?" He said, "We've had people trying to nick the cabling." Well, I said, "All right." I said, "So why have you called me out?" He says, "Well, just go and have a look." He says, "You might want to breathe through your mouth." And I went in, and the stench was disgusting.
Oh no, barbecue!
And there's 2 pairs of shoes.
Thank you very much, Perry. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. The walls were covered in black, horrible, greasy stuff, which is all that was left of them. They'd taken a still saw and tried cutting through the power cable. And it basically vaporised them.
Jeez.
That's another level of stupid.
I have heard. I've had heard other similar ones when I've been looks. I've been, to be honest with you, I thought we're going to do it in a couple of weeks. I'll just have a look at some of the silly ways, and I got really addicted for about 3 days watching these.
Oh yeah.
My local history one is a guy who was killed by a dead guy. He'd killed him 3 days previous, but the dead guy still managed to kill him. But I'll tell you next week.
Yeah.
There's one. I was going to leave it till next week, but it's from in Joe's part of the world. There was 2 French jewel thieves had broken into a 4th-story building, found the safe. One of these, I suppose, like these Acme type caves, safes that you see in a Tom and Jerry cartoon. One of these big metal things. It was too heavy, and obviously it would have been too loud to carry down the stairs. So one of them, who was the brains, sent the one that was the brawn downstairs, said, if we throw it out, the height of this window to the concrete floor will smash the safe open. The muscle decided to use his brain, and has the brainy one pushed it out the window, he decided he'll try and soften the impact of the safe. so that it didn't make too much noise when it hit the ground.
I bet there's a coyote under that safe.
Yeah.
He may as well have been. There wasn't much left of him, apparently.
No.
And another one was a guy in, I can't remember where it was, but it was somewhere in America. He had a hornet's nest underneath his porch. So he thought, well, I ain't going to pay the $200 to get it cleared professionally. So he got some fireworks, taped them to a metal rod, and set it all up so it was pointing upwards. Some of the hornet, because he pushed it up into the nest, some of the hornets came down and started stinging him. He was trying to shoo them away. The rod fell, came down. The fireworks lit, and it actually sent the pole that was attached to through his body, pinning him to the door.
While the hornets had great fun with what was left of him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Depends where you get stung. Take away the pain, leave the swelling.
And I'll leave it until next week. But one of the best ones was a Spanish woman over in Barcelona. They had some big a town just outside of Barcelona. Sorry, they had a big event coming up celebrating some centenary of some kind for the town. She was well known in the village for making cakes and pies and things like that. So she thought, I'll tell you what, I'll make my own fireworks.
Oh dear.
And I'll leave it there. And well, you can imagine what happened, but I'll go into more detail next week about that one. But there's been some really, really stupid ways people have died.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there's one that,
as Forrest Gump says, stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah. Well, the one that Ian said about, there was one very similar to that with a 16-year-old kid, because at the time copper was doing really good money, and he went in with a saw and cut through the copper wire. Do you know the signs that say danger of life behind the big metal railings? Yeah. He went in there with a saw and decided to cut through one of the metal cables to try and get the copper.
Yeah. I'm going to finish that with a little freaky Florida story.
Mm.
A Florida man.
Two friends, 2 Florida men, stoned out of their nuts.
Names changed to save your blushes, Joe.
They got they decided.
We're taking William Tell one, is it?
Not quite.
Oh.
They decided to play Russian roulette, but they had Kevlar helmets on, so they thought it would be fine. Except they were using a shotgun instead of a pistol.
Oh,
Yeah.
So the first boy pulled the trigger and ended up being sentenced to 85 years in jail because he killed his pal. But we had Kevlar helmets on.
Yeah, that just keeps it inside and ricochet. Who needs a dumb bullet?
That's like the one I told you in chat. The American guy, he had seen somebody doing Russian roulette on a film. He was bored and decided he wanted to do Russian roulette himself, but he used a semi-automatic revolver.
There is a case of somebody attempting the S word to self-deletion.
Yeah.
And they aimed it wrong. They aimed the pistol wrong. And basically it rattled round their skull, gave them a lobotomy, and they've never had any mental health issues ever since, and they're absolutely fine now. The bullet's still in there. They couldn't take it out without doing more damage, but it's removed the bit that was giving him the depression and all the rest. It's just been removed. And he's fine now.
I don't think I'll try that to deal with my depression, thanks.
No, it's not recommended.
Oh, they actually
close to any magnets though.
There was one up towards your way, Ian, actually, that I saw before we go. There was a woman, she was a really bad arachnophobic. Even just like a money spider would freak her out. She was doing 70 miles an hour down the motorway, and a spider came off of her sun visor. She decided to jump into the back of the car at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Darwin Awards.
Yeah.
Removing yourself from the gene pool.
I have done something not quite as stupid as that, but I've been doing 60 on a main road, and there's a spider crawled across the steering wheel.
Mm.
And it went in under the bit where the horn was, so I'm just like, what the other drivers thought I was doing, I don't know, but I was just trying.
There's that crazy lady again.
No, I intend to find some really good ones. So those that are watching, guys, thanks for stopping by tonight. Next, I know I shouldn't laugh at the ones I've watched, and because people have unfortunately lost their lives from it. But they have died in
Eileen.
They've died in such stupid ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you've just got to laugh at their.
And even half a brain cell might have gone, are you sure you want to try that?
Yeah, you would have thought so. Like the guy that wanted to beat the record using helium balloons to fly on a deck chair.
Yeah.
He tied them up on there. He hadn't even considered how to get back down again. So he used his brain and thought, you know what? Pop one balloon at a time and I'll slowly descend. The only trouble is he hadn't strapped himself into the chair, and he popped one of the balloons, and of course it tilted, and he fell 20,000 feet.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nothing.
But
there people who survived that.
But there wasn't.
We're giving them spoilers for next week. They're not going to come back now.
These are the boring ones. I've found some real doozies.
There's still absolute crackers out there.
Oh, there are some really good ones.
One that got me, it wasn't a death or anything, but we're talking about putting yourself in that situation. Someone sent me a link the other day for a guy having a go at a copper. The guy's about 5'3", and he's really having a go at this copper. And the copper's about 6'8". And the copper just got hold of him by the head and walked off with him. The guy's squealing like, you can't do this to me. He's giving it all this in his chest. Just literally just wrapped his arm around his head and walked off with him on tiptoes.
Oh dear. Right, guys, no, it's been a brilliant one. And there's what was it? I'll bring it back up again. As Perry said, thanks everyone. Great to hear reasoned sensationalist dissection of this topic. I think we dealt with this quite sensibly. We didn't jump straight away to like a lot of people would. Oh yeah, it was definitely a witch. It was definitely a ghost.
It was a demon.
Yeah, I saw the horns.
It was singing hymns and reporting sermons, so it can't have been a demon.
Oh, it could have been a demon.
Vanished itself.
Funny enough, that
I staged my house the other day and woke up outside.
Yeah. Today alone, we've had 4 people saying that they're either Zach Baggins or a member of Zach Baggins' official team, things like that, try and join Paranormal Anglia.
I saw that. I saw those. I figured you'd take care of those pretty quick.
Yeah, I've got rid of them quick because they'd had the account like 3 or 4 days or something stupid like that. So
my name's
and like any of them, will they hurt us?
Exactly.
They're probably going. They're probably looking. They're probably Googling Anglia to see what an Anglia is. And they'll be thinking it's an old haunted Ford.
Right, guys. So it was a fantastic one tonight. I think we broke that. I think we broke that down really well. So ultimately, we think there's a chance it could have been poltergeist activity caused by possible domestic abuse.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
I'd thought this for a long time off my own back, and until I literally Googled it just like a little while ago, I didn't realise there was actually books and films that mentioned it.
Oh yeah.
So, it did actually say the name of the film. I might bring up Netflix and see if it's on there and have a watch of it, see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
So, TTFN, have a good evening, the rest of you, and those that stop by. You've got to come next week. Get as many people that you know.
Yeah.
Friends.
Next
family.
week is going to be fun. It's going to be the kings and queens of stupidity.
Oh yeah.
If you have a sense of humour,
I don't know what it takes. Even if you have to give your mobile phone to your hamster to watch this one, because there are some real. I'm sure you guys are going to be able to find some fantastic ones.
Oh yeah,
you always do.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I'm going to watch it on YouTube because I feel bad about laughing because people have lost their lives because of it. But Jesus, the way they've done it is literally half a second thought would saved most of these lives.
Yeah,
like the one guy that tried to use his Ferrari to squish a rattlesnake that was in his garage.
Yeah.
He drove at the rattlesnake. It felt the ground vibrate. It moved. His car went through the back of the garage, and the whole roof collapsed on top of him and the new car.
Because obviously he thought that the snake was going to stop the car.
Yeah. You know, like even just as if a wheel on top of a snake is going to stop a car.
Yeah.
But no, I've got some really good. I've actually got a folder already. I've found some that have been so good. There's no way I weren't documenting them. So, right, anyway, guys, take care, and we'll see you all next week, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
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 Bye.